make an informed choice for these candidates, I want to introduce you to candidates for mayor of Pasadena. As I call them forward, I want to let the audience know that prior to tonight's event, the candidates met and drew for seating position on the stage. We will use their seating position as the order in which they will respond to tonight's questions. So candidates, as you come forward, please find your assigned seat up here on the stage. David Flores, a 33-year resident of Pasadena and owner of GS Advanced Industry. Gloria Gallegos, a 51-year resident of Pasadena and Associate Superintendent for Special Programs for Pasadena ISD. I'm sure there's some moderator comment I'm supposed to make now, but I'm totally at a loss. So we'll get that flag set back up. It's Miss Gloria Gallegos. J.R. Moon, a 30-year resident of Pasadena, area realtor, and San Jacinto College Board of Trustees. Gilbert Pena, a 25-year resident of Pasadena. He's retired, a former state representative. Robert Talton, a 47-year resident of Pasadena, a local attorney and former state representative. Pat Van Hout, a 37-year resident of Pasadena and council member here in Pasadena. And Jeff Wagner, a 21-year resident of Pasadena, retired and city council member. And if you'll join me and give them all a big round of applause for participating in tonight's forum. And thank you each for being here this evening. Now for the ground rules of tonight's forum. Our purpose tonight is to inform voters in a fair and impartial way of each candidate's views on key issues related to business issues in our community. This is not a debate, it is a forum. 6 questions will be asked this evening. These questions were developed based on chamber membership surveys and community input. The first 4 questions were provided to each candidate in advance of tonight's forum. They have not seen the final 2 questions. The same questions will be asked of every candidate. No questions will be asked from the audience tonight, and members of the audience who may have questions can submit those questions into the lobby for future consideration. Again, the candidates drew for position here on stage, and they will answer questions in alternating order throughout the evening. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement, 2 minutes to answer each question, and then 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Candidates, our timekeeper for this evening is Chamber Board member Tammy Nielsen from Commissioner Jack Mormon's office. And Tammy, wave real big so they can see you there on the front of the deal. Okay, she will hold up a yellow yield sign when you have 30 seconds, and a red stop sign, and a bell will ring when your 2 minutes are up. An angel just got its wings. We ask that you help us keep to our timeline tonight in respect for each candidate, and to those here in attendance. To the candidates and to our audience, we ask that you listen respectfully to each candidate and not interrupt their presentations. Obviously, with 7 candidates, their time is limited, and we want to give them all the time that we can. It seems to me that in this day and age, men and women involved in national and state politics struggle sometimes with civility. And I hope that today, and I know the candidates have agreed already, that we will keep this to be in a civil debate, a civil forum, where we will be able to respect each other's views and listen seriously to the comments that they make. And I know that as a result of that, Pasadena will be better served. Candidates, are you ready? Ready. All right, good luck to you all, and let's begin. Our opening remarks today will begin with Ms. Van Hout with your 2 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Pat Van Hout, and this is all the bio that fits in 2 minutes. I was born in Syracuse, New York. My father's job took us to Pennsylvania, then to Cleveland, Ohio, where I grew up, and I still have family. I attended Michigan State University and received a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I came to Texas in 1976 to attend the University of Houston at Clear Lake, and earned an MA in behavioral sciences. I bought my current house in Pasadena in 1980. I worked for the Children's Protective Services for 3 years, taking reports of child abuse and neglect and investigating emergency situations. Then I was at Texas Workforce Commission for 19 years. Most of that time was investigating unemployment claims, and as a part of that, I learned a wide variety of human resources issues and laws. When the Houston Claims Office closed, I didn't want to move to another city because my house here was almost paid off. About the same time, I learned of a plan that Pasadena had to extend Strawberry Road. This was going to move people, tear down the houses across the street from me, and put a 4-lane road in the neighborhood. When Councilmember Jack Douglas learned that the people in the neighborhood didn't want this, he fought the project, and it was eventually canceled. When Jack Douglas was term limited, I didn't see someone else who was going to stand up for the people in the district, so I ran. I've been on council 8 years, the last 2 at large, and I've used that time to try to see as much of the city as possible. I volunteer with Habitat for Humanity, the Red Cross, and previously with the Crisis Hotline. I've done training for the hotline and for the Red Cross, and I'm a team leader for disaster response.
Good evening. My name is David Flores, and I would like to thank the chambers and the citizens for coming. This election is very important, and it will determine what will happen in the next years to come. My platform is basic. It's truthfulness, equality, and transparency. Truthful. It's time that the city be truthful to the citizens and the employees. Equality. I believe we can treat our citizens and employees equally so we can learn and grow from one another. Last but not least, it's time for Pasadena to be transparent with information, city dealings, and most importantly, with your tax dollars. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Who am I? I am Gloria Gallegos, and I am the proud product of parents who believed in the American dream, of immigrant experiences, and the value in education that drives me to continue to succeed every day. It has been my privilege to serve our community as an associate superintendent for the Pasadena Independent School District for the last 16 years. As an educator and administrator, I touched the lives of over 55,000 families, more than 3,000 fellow educators, and 5,000 staff that work to provide safe and clean learning environments for our 55,000 students every day. You may be asking, because some of you see me as the role of an educator, you may be asking, how is my experience relevant today? As I noted, my own experience, coupled with my education and work at PISD for the last 35 years, make me the ideal candidate for mayor of our city. Our city has changed and will continue to change, so we must anticipate the change and make it work for us, for all of us. As an administrator overseeing more than $23 million in annual budgets, building partnerships, and working with all the stakeholders of PISD, including many of you that are here in the audience today. I have had and been blessed because I have had a front seat observing, planning, and preparing for this change. The change I'm interested in is in the change that we all know needs to take place. If we plan together, we can work together. If we work together, we can succeed together. We do not need to be in the front page of the Citizen, telling people all the negative stuff from our city. Thank you. That's good.
How are y'all doing? Y'all enjoying yourself? Good. My name is Robert Talton. My family and I moved to Sunset Terrace on the west side of Pasadena in 1949. I attended Ritchie Elementary, Jackson Junior High, and Pasadena High School. After high school, I attended San Jacinto Junior High. How many of y'all remember when San Jacinto was in Old Woolsworth High? Anybody? Got a few that remember that. All right, and I graduated from University of Houston in 1971 with a Bachelor of Business Administration. After working as an accountant for approximately a year and a half, I went back to school and graduated from South Texas College of Law in 1976. I've been a Pasadena police officer, prosecutor, associate municipal court judge, police legal advisor, and an elected state representative for the Pasadena area for 16 years. During my more than 25 years of law practice in this area, I was city attorney for South Houston and Pearland. As a state representative, I was urban affairs chairman for 4 years. We heard most of the legislation that dealt with cities, police, and fire departments all over the state. My 3 priorities are economic development, infrastructure, and public safety. I am familiar with most parts of municipal government. When elected as mayor, I will do what is right for the city. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gilbert Peña, and I'm running for city mayor. I moved to Pasadena back in 1992, and in 2006, I got interested in politics. I wanted to see why many of our officials made all these promises and none of them were kept. So I started running for office, and in 2014, I was fortunate enough to get elected to the state as a state representative to House District 144. I went to Austin, I worked hard, I passed 5 bills, and I felt that 2 of those bills were very beneficial to the residents in Texas and business owners throughout Texas as well. And I looked at it, a little disappointed in Trump, but I felt that I could still continue to help the people in the community and here in Pasadena. And I looked at the next best option, and the next best option was city mayor. And I feel that if I get elected, I will bring honesty and accountability to the city of Pasadena. Thank you.
First of all, thank you, Kevin, Christina, and Dr. Lewis, and all the volunteers that made this event tonight possible. I'm asking for your vote, Moon for mayor. Why? Because I love this city, its people, its heritage, and its future. I grew up here. I'm a product of the schools here. I raised my family here, and I've done business here. I see so many opportunities in this city if we work together to improve our city. We do have challenges that a 100-year-old city has. Infrastructure, working on neighborhoods, all kinds of opportunities that are out there. If we work together, as I have experienced out at my 10 years at San Jac College, we will refocus on the basics of city streets and drainage, safety in the neighborhoods, replacing water lines. We will leave behind the headlines of today and make a new day in Pasadena. I am a new face. I have new ideas. I will be at your service. That's why I am confidently asking you to vote for me as your next mayor. Thank you.
Dr. Lewis, thank you. Chamber, thank you. Thanks for everybody in attendance. My name is Jeff Wagner. I want to again thank y'all for being here. And my attendants, I have my wife, my daughter, my grandchildren, my parents here. Thank y'all for being here, my aunt and uncle. I have been a Houston police officer, a very proud member of the Houston Police Officer for the last 33 and a half years. In my career, I have been very blessed by having the opportunity to win Officer of the Year 3 times. One from the 100 Club, one from the city of Houston, and also one from our union. I've had 33 letters of accommodations from our chief. During my 33 years, the last 21 years, I've been in the robbery division. In the last 10 years of that, I have been an admin officer. And what that entails is I've been over the budget, timekeeping, training. I did annual audits of all of our inventory. And I was also over the fleet. Along with that, I also still worked cases. I solved many, many cases. And on top of that, throughout that, in 2008, I was able to graduate with my bachelor's of organizational leadership. Also with that, the last 6 years of that, I've been a board member, elected board member of our union, which is over 5,000 members. I've been elected 3 times for 2-year terms. With that leadership style that I learned through my college and being on that board member and also being a city council member for 2 years, I am ready to lead this city the way this city needs to be led. And together, we can do it. Thank you so much.
All right, we're ready for the questions for the evening. And again, these questions have been presented to the candidates prior to tonight's meeting, and they will answer again according to the order in which they're seating up here this evening. So the first question: what specific qualifications and job experience prepare you to lead our city's strategic plan, budget, and the organization with more than 1,000 employees? Mr. Flores.
First, it's the passion that I have for the city. I know Pasadena. I was born and raised in Pasadena. In fact, I worked for the city for 5 years and in 5 different departments. I know the ins and the outs of how the department strategically operate. Furthermore, I founded my business, Advanced Industry, in Pasadena. I have taken Advanced Industry from a small startup to partnering up with banks and partnering up with billion-dollar corporations. I ran the budget for my business and led the operations. I was very hands-on and very aware of what was going on. Those are the very same assets that I will bring to the mayor's office. In our reality, it all comes down to listening to people's needs and being sincere and finding solutions. We need to come together as a community to make Pasadena a better city to live and work for you, your families, and mine. Thank you.
I guess I didn't follow instructions, right? Thank you, Kirk, for that question. Typically, the way I do business is that I like to know where I'm going every day, week, month, and year. My approach is the development of a strategic plan for myself, for my work, and for my family. Every year, I work to develop a strategic plan that identifies our strengths and weaknesses. So in the city, I look for the strategic plan, and I have in here an action plan that is dated 13/14 by the city of Pasadena, and it still has draft on it, okay? Where are we in 2017? Why aren't we working on where we need to be? We should be looking at 2020, 2025, 2030. City government is a business. You would not run your businesses without a strategic plan that tells everyone on your team what the goal is. Where are we going? What must we do to get there? How will we measure our success? How will we know when we have gotten there? How can we know where we are going as a city if we do not have a roadmap that points to the direction we have chosen ourselves? We can no longer afford to have a select few choose the directions for all of us. We must choose it for ourselves. I propose to form a Mayor's Redevelopment Council and have all the stakeholders, businesses, large and small, civic groups, the Rotarians, the optimists, faith-based groups, educators, labor, community service groups, and others to work collaboratively for the benefit of our city. Thank you.
Guys, as I said in the opening, I've been a Pasadena police officer, a police legal advisor, prosecutor, judge, and elected state rep. There's no aspect of city government that I have not been involved. When I was urban affairs chairman for 2 sessions, most of the municipal, police, and fire legislation came through my committee. Therefore, I saw and was involved as to how other cities were addressing their problems in the state. As chairman of urban affairs, we had an oversight of an agency which was called TDHCA, Texas Housing Community Development. They had 300 employees, and they had a budget over $158 million. The state budget, which I was a part of, was about $65 billion for 2 years. Thank you.
Okay. I was a little confused. I was told I was going to answer a different question starting out, but anyways, question number 1, what specific qualifications do I have for the job that I'm seeking? For too long, a lot of people have thought that you need to have a college degree, which I have, and that you need to have other degrees, which I have a paralegal certificate, a nursing certificate. But what I really need to be mayor of Pasadena is I need to live in Pasadena, number 1. Number 2, I need to be registered to vote. Number 3, I need to be over 18 years of age. So I've always said that all these roadblocks that people placed in front of me were just to discourage me or anyone else from running for an elected position in Pasadena or in any other city. Now, my experience, no matter how much life experience I have, I mean, I've been a foreman, I've been a supervisor, I've had men working with me and for me, and I've always managed to bring in my jobs in on time and made a profit for the company. But as Pasadena mayor, I would have to work with city council. We have to work with city council in order to get approval of the budget. I need to work with city council to get second century board members appointed. I will need to work with citizens committee. I mean, so the job of being a mayor requires me to have a lot of experience, but at the same time, I have a lot of people to count on or to lean on for guidance and assistance in making major city decisions that have to be made here in Pasadena. Thank you.
What specific qualifications and experience do I have for the mayor's position? First of all, I grew up here. I graduated from Sam Rayburn High School. I went to San Jacinto College. I went to Southern Methodist University, and I returned back and got my master's degree at the University of Houston, Clear Lake. I've been a licensed CPA since 1983. I've spent 35 years in banking. I've supervised hundreds of employees over that period of time. For 10 years in my banking career, I worked for Moody Bank. We grew that bank from 4 locations and $300 million to 31 locations and almost $1 billion. I prepared the budget for the bank and its 31 locations. The last 10 years, I have spent out at San Jacinto College. We have increased the graduation rates of our students from 2,000 a year when I first got there to 7,000 a year this year. We are a majority Hispanic college. The majority of our students are Hispanic. We have done this improvement in the graduation rate with less money from the state every year. We build our buildings on time and under budget. These things provide me the experience and the qualifications needed and necessary to run the city government. I will not need on-the-job training. I am fully qualified with my experience to lead this city.
Thank you. I'm very proud that I led the charge in 2015 to increase our police salaries. That was my first vote as a council member, and I was very proud of that. Not everyone voted yes on that. I also stepped up to the plate and voted yes for 3% cost of living for all our employees. Again, not everyone voted for that. Did it raise taxes? Absolutely not. I'm a leader, not a follower. You know, for the last 6 years, like I mentioned, I've been on the board of the Houston Police Officers Union. I've coordinated increased salaries, benefits, guaranteed for 3 years for our employees. I have managed a budget over $806 million that provides for our 5,000 employees. Everyone on this stage has experience in their careers in one way or the other. The system and process of city government is completely different, and if you don't know how to connect the system and the process, you're due for failure. I can proudly say I devoted my life in city government for the last 33 and a half years, and I know that I'm most qualified to lead in this area. Thank you so much.
Ms. Gallegos, I would like to see that draft, because right now, we don't have a strategic plan. The city had a capital improvements plan, which was updated every year or two, and the last one was done about 10 years ago. Since then, we have had various lists of projects. Some got done, some didn't. Any plan will have flexibility, but lists are not truly a strategic plan. This is something the mayor and council need to develop. We do have a budget. It's a very healthy budget. I've been working with the budget for several years, and I was reading it before I was on council. I have regularly researched things like the Consumer Price Index, water and sewer rates, and I've analyzed our health care rates. And we're supposed to have an actuarial review this year because of problems with our rate structure. I know the department heads. I know the city procedures. From my background with the Workforce Commission, I'm familiar with human resource issues. I continue to get training in leadership skills and in laws impacting cities. I keep up with what other cities are doing in order to pick the best practices from them. I did not consider the mayor's position until last year, but I have always tried to learn more, to be a better council member, and that has prepared me to do more now.
And now each candidate will come forward and they will answer question number 2. Question number 2 is this. If elected, what are your top 3 priorities and how do you think you can produce impactful change in those areas? And starting our answer today will be Gloria Gallegos.
Thank you, Kurt. My focus, number 1, would be to intensify efforts to support small business development. I want to help grow our small business sector. Small business employs many of the city's residents. Business is the engine that drives our city towards a better future. And if we had enough time, I would tell you a lot of successful stories, but we don't have enough time. That'll be for another day. To work and work well, city government needs to refocus on our customers, citizens, business, our children. We cannot continue to operate like an island. We must move from working in isolation to being collaboratively with those who want to work with us in transparent ways. My vision is to develop a strategic plan that will lead us to the future. Together, we need to identify what the benchmarks are going to be. As an associate superintendent, I have developed, implemented, and evaluated strategic plans. Collaborative partnerships are part of implementing a successful plan. And then finally, what I would put in place is an inclusive government that involves all with strong partnerships. Thank you.
I said it in the opening statement. My 3 priorities are economic development, infrastructure, and public safety. As to economic development, in 1993, I sponsored Senate Bill 242, and you're wondering, what is that bill? That was the bill that put the Beltway through on the Pasadena side at Fairmont and Beltway. We are still enjoying new business in that area. If you don't know that, we're getting as much from the sales tax from that area that we do from property taxes. That's why sometimes the tax rate goes down a little bit. Taxable values go up. Taxes may not be lowered, but that's what happened. That's an example of economic growth. Not only is it an example of economic growth, you are improving your infrastructure so that we can move about our city better. Once you improve your infrastructure, then you need to clean up the older parts of the city while maintaining and improving the newer parts. Make sure the Dangerous Building Committee is operating properly and the abandoned automobile ordinances are up to date and operating efficiently. I have either written or amended these ordinances for cities during my career. Thank you.
My three top priorities are public safety, accountability, and the infrastructure. For citizens to feel safe, our first responders must feel safe as well. They must have the tools and resources to do their job safely so that at the end of the day, they can also return home to their families. I will work to improve relationships between the police department and the citizens to strengthen and improve safety in our neighborhoods, and in this manner, hopefully reduce crime. Accountability. I will bring accountability to the city budget. I will stop wasting taxpayers' money by starting and abandoning projects that cost millions of dollars. And for example, we had the strawberry project, which we were going to run strawberry through, and they went in there and bought out all these properties, and then they abandoned the project. Now you got lost property taxes on that. The infrastructure is also a top priority. No business wants to come into Pasadena and then have the street in front of them torn up and their customers are not able to get into their business. So we need water lines that are, and particularly in my part of the neighborhood, the water's coming out rusted and my tub ends up rusted and the clothes are in there with rust on them. So we need the water lines to be replaced. And the only way we can do this, the only way we can fix some of the infrastructure in Pasadena is by, if we stop wasting the tax dollars, we become more accountable with it. Thank you.
My top three priorities as mayor: streets and drainage, safety, which includes the police and the fire department, and then keeping taxes low with the expansion of the economy. How will I do all of this? Well, first of all, we need a strategic plan. The strategic plan will be developed by talking with you, the residents of Pasadena, and I will talk with the council members to find out what your priorities are, what your projects are. We will put them into a 5-year plan. That's called a capital improvements program. We will take a look at that. We will prioritize that, see where it fits into the budget. We will tell you where we plan on doing this. We will approve this in advance so that you know what projects we're going to be doing. This will help make the residents feel better about where their money is spending. They won't have a question. They can pull it up on the website and know where we are. These improvements will make the neighborhoods safer places. That will in turn help with the economic development, because if we have safer neighborhoods, people will want to move in here. If people are wanting to move in here, they will develop businesses here. We will improve our communication with the residents, our schools, and our businesses, and the communities surrounding this city. This may sound simple in concept, and it is, but it is very effective when it's actually done. I will do this. We need repairs on Ritchie Street, Pasadena Boulevard, Red Bluff, all of those near 225. We also need to mark our streets better. Over on Perez, we have a new school, and when I was walking the neighborhoods, they told me the children do not have a crosswalk in order to walk safely to the school, and the school should open shortly. Streets, drainage, safety, low taxes. Thank you.
My number one commitment is neighborhood streets first. It's not a political slogan, it's neighborhood streets first. I have developed a program that I will execute the first 100 days when I take office. We're talking about the streets in front of our houses, not the main thoroughfares. And how do we know which street needs to be fixed? From the citizens. You will report the streets to us. We don't need engineers to tell us which streets needs to be fixed. We know what street needs to be fixed. My commitment number 2, safe routes to school. I know that's a state-funded program, but I'm going to adopt a program to make it very flexible where we can use it here in our city. And how we're going to do this is very simple. As we're doing neighborhood streets first, let's combine the both. I was on the corner of Sinclair and Pine. A school bus stopped. A school bus driver got out of the bus, with a stop sign. Now, that's all good and dandy, but what made me notice what was going on was parents was in the side of a ditch waiting for their kids to be picked up. That's unacceptable. So along with the city and the school district and the state, we're going to work together to make sure this problem stops. Number 3, Veteran Assistance Program. We need some help of our veterans to help them get through all the federal maze of all the paperwork. The county has it, but we need somewhere here in the city so we can help our veterans get what they deserve. Thank you so much.
My top priorities relate to the city's image. 2 of them have to do with the physical image. We have many roads and sidewalks that are in poor condition. People come into the city and comment about how bad our streets are. We are not doing enough each year to keep up with the life expectancy of pavement. We need to do more lane miles and not just major roads. We need to do the little roads in neighborhoods. This has the added benefit of encouraging the residents to improve the appearance of their property. We have a lot of vacant buildings. They look bad. They bring down the property values around them. There's a tendency to more crime in a neighborhood that looks bad. It looks like no one cares what happens. If a building has been vacant and no taxes paid for 2 years, the city needs to foreclose. We need to sell it to someone who will repair it and get it occupied. Beyond the physical image is the perception of the city. We have the internal issues that have been in the media. We need more openness. We need better communication. We need the text of agenda items online so anyone can see what the city's doing. We need an application for city boards and committees so you don't have to know someone to have a chance to participate. City council needs to be more involved in making decisions, and we need to follow the Open Meetings Act. You should see the council discussing issues. You should see the reasoning behind the decisions that your representatives are making.
My top 3 priorities would be the qualities that I would bring into our office. Qualities such as truthfulness, equality, and transparency. I'm going to be truthful about how our city operates and bring equality to all citizens of Pasadena. And I will be transparent to both employees and citizens. A prime example is our city's violation of the Voting Rights Act and the inequality that was set among the citizens of Pasadena. This cover-up that has been exposed has caused over $2 million of your tax dollars and has been spent foolishly. The citizens should expect to be provided with equal services from our city government. As your mayor, I will call for more transparency in city spending, repairing broken streets, and public safety, among other things. That's exactly why I would like to bring a zero-based budgeting system into Pasadena. As your mayor, I believe you have the right to know where your tax dollars are being spent. Also, it forces the city government to prioritize on how your tax dollars are being spent and to meet your everyday needs. Thank you.
And now each candidate will answer question number 3. What needs to be done to support and grow existing business and to attract new businesses to our city. And we'll start with Mr. Talton.
I'll make this short. Lower property taxes and cut regulations. I would review all business regulations in the city. Thank you.
Well, as I stated earlier, as state representative, I was honored to vote and support the franchise tax reduction by 25%. I think that was a great thing for the business owners, but no business wants to come into Pasadena if the streets are being torn up. I mean, and we do need a lot of streets repair. Red Bluff, for instance, is in need of great repair. But one of the other top things that I would do to try to attract new business would be, with the high taxes and regulations hurts business, so I will work to expand the business-friendly city by getting rid of regulations that hurt business growth and attract new businesses which can expand our tax base. Now, the previous administration banned all these taco trucks that were here in Pasadena because there were a lot of them were out of city code. And of course, the taco truck owners respond to that was, fine us until we come into city code ordinance. You know, we're willing to pay the fine, we're willing to take whatever it is that we need to do. So that is one of those ordinances that I feel hurt a lot of the small business owners that were trying to start up here in Pasadena, and it's something that we need to do away with. Thank you.
In addition to improving the streets, drainage, and water line replacement, we will emphasize to our staff and our community that we will be consistently business-friendly, both to our existing businesses who want to expand and to new businesses that want to come into the area. This will lead not only to better jobs, but more jobs, and a rising tide helps all businesses, and these jobs will bring new families with additional income to help improve our neighborhoods and quality of life. This attitude has helped us to move 2 companies, water companies, into the city and has helped attract new restaurants along Beltway 8 from Fairmont to Red Bluff. We will work together with our people, with our staff, the community, and create and improve partnerships with the Economic Alliance and other assets with the Chamber to meet the needs. We will look at removing roadblocks to business creation and expansion. Old, outdated regulations we will take a look at, and we will get those removed. Those have sometimes kept us from expanding the business or bringing and attracting new businesses. We will take a look at all of these and make a difference in the city.
I will form a business development committee of local professionals to survey businesses to determine what the city can do to improve their businesses. I will continue to complete new businesses through incentives and improve marketing efforts. Also, continue our partnership with the Economic Alliance, Bay Area Houston, and the Greater Houston Partnership, the Governor's Office, and of course the Chamber. In addition, I will promote a better business climate that encourages business to want to come here. Thank you.
For someone starting a business, we need a written explanation of what permits are needed, the rules, the process, the time frame. A number of business people have told me that the Pasadena permit process is much faster than Houston. But for someone starting a business for the first time, they don't have that experience for a comparison, and it's confusing. I'd like to bring back the facade grant program. That helps small businesses, and it helps the appearance of the city. It would be a good project for Second Century. New businesses will come to Pasadena. Having a better looking city will help, but new businesses will come here because of our location by the port. We've been seeing that. My concern is not to get the businesses here. I want to position the people of Pasadena to get the higher paying jobs that those businesses are bringing. I want training programs for high demand jobs. Train the employees will attract businesses. Have a training incentive for the businesses. And if they need something specialized, we can set up something for them. I'd also like to see the chamber have a resiliency class for businesses. The city could co-host it, have it open not just to members, but all the businesses in the city. Large companies have a disaster plan, but small companies often don't. If you plan and prepare, you have a better chance of staying open or reopening after a disaster.
We must get back to the basics because we're not going to attract new businesses and build existing businesses unless we invest in the basics. Basics meaning repair our roads, build our infrastructure, increase our public safety. Communities that invest in their natural assets by protecting natural resources can better attract and retain residents, tourists, and businesses. Because we all value clean air, water, and landscapes. I'm a firm believer in public safety. We need more officers and patrolling to keep the crime rate low. This will provide potential new businesses to have confidence in the city of Pasadena, citizens, and our families. Our downtown is another important asset that we can use to help spur our economy. Downtowns help define a community's identity through the unique historic buildings, shops, restaurants, and community gathering places. We should, and we will, under my administration, work from the inside out by investing in ourselves and attracting the outsiders. Thank you.
First and foremost, we must be more attuned to the needs of the business community. Infrastructure that supports growth, sidewalk and better sewage systems, property values go up, and it'll make it more attractive for folks to come here. We need school to work pipeline to make sure our young people become trained and employable. Business goes where the worker exists. And the final point is a tax-friendly, competitive environment. Thank you.
And now the candidates will respond to question 4. How would you facilitate redevelopment, and what are your top priorities in this area? Mr. Pena.
Thank you. Well, once again, I think the infrastructure has been mentioned a lot, and that's what my top priority is. I mean, we do need to get the infrastructure going. Here in Pasadena is one of the top things that we need to do. A lot of tax dollars have been wasted, I feel, in other areas of bringing in Metro, like I mentioned earlier, the strawberry. I mean, this is tax dollars that could have been used to repair our water lines or sewer lines or sidewalks so the parents won't be standing in a ditch waiting on their children. This is where our tax dollars should be spent in rebuilding that infrastructure that has for too long been neglected here in Pasadena. Thank you.
There is a tremendous opportunity to improve our northern side of the Pasadena area. We can do this through grants to remove eyesores and improve the quality of our neighborhoods, whether it's vacant, condemned buildings, or houses that are left to rot. We can do this, and once we do that, it will remove the roadblocks for our businesses and provide incentives for new jobs where necessary. We have to work together as a team to accomplish this. We have to replace outdated business models and streamline the development process in order to keep it from stalling. This improvement in the business climate by replacing infrastructure, streets, water lines, and improves our community. We will work closely with other organizations like the Economic Alliance of the Port Region and the Chamber to help find the areas where we can maintain and improve the economic redevelopment of this city. By doing that, we will accomplish more with less. Thank you.
Pasadena is 90 to 95% developed. To redevelop is definitely our future. I will invite citizens' input along with my staff, consultants, to define areas, to find out what we can do to redevelop, to make it better. I have studied many cities that are trying these things, and there's lots of good programs that we can bring into our city, but we need to remember one thing. We need a program that fits our city. We can say a lot of things, but we need a program where we control it, and we also need a program that fits our city, that makes our city better, and that's what I bring to the table. Thank you.
For an area to redevelop, it has to look like a place people want to live, and a place where the people who live there already want to invest in improvements. That means we need good streets and sidewalks. We need active code enforcement. We need to increase the number of police officers because people want to live somewhere safe. A farmer's market or family activities will draw in young people. And you may notice that the things I've mentioned are oriented toward residents because businesses will go where the people are. The city has properties that the city will not use. They need to be sold so that someone else can use them and build there. Pasadena is a good city. People feel comfortable and at home here. Pasadena cannot be a great city while we have a divide between North and South. You do not improve the city by bringing the ends together. You improve the city from the bottom up. We need someone work in all areas of the city, but the most work in the old parts. And yes, Pasadena can be great.
First, let me tell you my priority that will facilitate redevelopment. My top agenda for the city is the budget. I will implement a zero-based budgeting system that has been shown in many different cities to save millions of dollars. This system will facilitate redevelopment in Pasadena. I will establish a lead commission to redevelopment of areas in Pasadena. This commission will have open lines of communication for the citizens. There will be events at different areas in Pasadena so I can listen to the citizens and your concerns for the communities. This commission will be involved in our neighborhood and our housing improvements, our transportation, and commercial development. We will look at ways to fund these projects with our tax dollars and grants that will improve our community redevelopment. Pasadena will only be a better place to live and work if we, as a community, come together and make it happen. I am a strong believer in what unity can do, and under my leadership as the mayor of Pasadena, I strongly believe that we can make the necessary changes needed for all of Pasadena to thrive. Thank you.
Redevelopment is only an element of a strategic plan. As mayor, I will form a mayor's redevelopment advisory council. I will invite businesses large and small. I would invite all to come and have a seat at the table because you are a critical component to the economy of this city, and you are a principal employer for the residents of Pasadena. Thank you.
Guys, I've been in the city a long time. I have sat here and watched various plans that have been tried to rebuild the city. I lived on the west side of the city. I lived on Sunset Drive, actually. So I well know what has happened to that area and the area what we call up north. I wouldn't waste a lot of money on a lot of consultants. That's been done. We've tried RUDAT, we've tried Econocourt, we've tried whatever other plans. What you would need to do, in my opinion, is to take your planning committee and make it and have them to do a long-range planning and bring in members from all areas of the city. I would suggest that we look at our sister city. How many of y'all remember going to downtown Houston where you could go to either the Metropolitan or Lowe's or somewhere like that? Anybody ever do that? And you felt safe at that time. But for how many years after that did you really feel safe? Not much, because they built all the shows and stuff out here. But how about today? You see what has happened to Houston. And guys, I can tell you exactly how they did it. I was chairman of Urban Affairs. The other thing that I did was all the management districts in the state came through Urban Affairs. And that's how Houston did it. Number one was the Galleria area, redevelopment, that's how they did it. Then you had the Midtown Development District, and then you had the Downtown Development District. How do you think Gulfgate was rebuilt? It's called the Greater East End Management District. That's how I think that that is the way that we have to do it. The stakeholders have to have a part in this. That is the only way that I have seen around the state to see a city rebuilt itself. Thank you.
That's the end of our prepared questions. And we have two questions for you that have been developed that the candidates have not seen. And so we will talk about those now. The first question, what can be done to improve the quality of life in Pasadena so it is a great place to live and work? And we've talked a lot about business issues, but I think this question was intended more for residential quality of life. And so starting to answer this question tonight will be Mr. Moon.
There is a tremendous amount that we can do to enhance the quality of life. First of all, we can make sure that the sidewalks are prepared and fixed where they've been cracked and raised. We can make sure that the streets are clearly marked so that seniors can see the lines at night and feel comfortable and safe when they're driving. We can do this and enhance the existing parks. We've done this on several parks over in the Queens Road area. We've done it over in the South Side area. We can do this on all the parks. We need to make sure that where the parks are able to be used on hike and bike trails, we can expand those and make sure that they connect. These are a number of things that we can do in this area, and we can work with expanding the grant monies that are available out in the opportunities to increase the amount of sidewalks and other areas that we can do. We've got a lot of sidewalks that do not have ramps down to the streets. When I've been walking in the neighborhoods, I've talked with folks who have told me we can't go for a walk except on our little circle right here because the ramps are not available. They weren't put in when they were originally done. There are other places where the sidewalks are not even there. These are things that will enhance the quality of life, and we can expand this to make the city great. Thank you.
Quality of life is so important, especially for our seniors. You know, talking to a lot of our seniors, I realize they have a problem getting around town. So just thinking right out of the box, maybe we can partner with maybe some churches. They have buses and vans, be partnerships. Maybe throwing the gas, maybe a driver or something to help the seniors get around for their quality of life. My main focus is our young people. Many of our young people graduate high school and the first thing they want to do is leave Pasadena because they don't feel the quality of life, this city is good enough for them. It is not true. I'm focusing all my resource and just getting the young people together to let them know when they graduate high school, there's jobs here. They can live here. They can grow their family here as we have. The quality of life It's a very important part of our city. We must put all effort in all quality of life. That's why neighborhood streets first is so important to me. Our kids going to school safely, getting on buses safely is very important to me. We must focus whatever we have to do to make sure all our citizens are safe and have the city services that they deserve. That's me, and that's what I will do. Thank you.
You've heard it before. We got to fix the streets and the sidewalks. It needs to be safe to walk to school. It needs to be safe to walk to your next door neighbor's house. And I've seen an awful lot of corners where the sidewalk stops 10 feet short of the corner. What was somebody thinking? We can fix that stuff. People are dropping their kids off at school, they're picking them up, and you can't get down the street because there are so many cars backed up, and they aren't walking to school because at times the sidewalks aren't safe, because of the stray dogs. There are things that we can do to make it safer to walk, to get more people out. It's healthy. We have junk vehicles. The code on that has been changed. It's stricter than it was, but we still have a lot of junk vehicles. We've got vacant houses, we've got overgrown lots. We need more people in code enforcement. We need them out in the neighborhoods, finding the problems, trying to work with people, because sometimes someone has a situation that they can't take care of something. And there are resources, there are church groups, there are veterans organizations, there are groups that can help. But we need to be out working on that. And park maintenance. We have restrooms that need to be cleaned. We have walking tracks that get muddy when it rains. There's no shortage of things to work on. Get somebody who's going to do it.
Well, first, we need unity in the council. We need to work together. We need to communicate with each other to make things happen. That's how we'll start with enhancing, you know. We really need to work together. I can't stress it enough. If we can have unity in the council with the leaders and listen to the citizens, then we can get things done. Thank you.
Quality of life. We need to begin with perception. The perception that folks have outside and the insiders as well. And I could say the sidewalks, the sewer, and green spaces like everybody else has done, but I really would like to see the improvement of quality of life. The only way that we're going to be able to do that is by providing equal services and resources to all. We shouldn't have a North and a South Pasadena. It's all Pasadena. We need to provide for all. But let's propel forward. I would like to really see and take advantage of the bayous that we have around here. Just like the Riverwalk in San Antonio, people gravitate and there's always lots of people there. We could do the same thing with the many bayous that we have in this area and be able to create green space so that folks can enjoy and have quality of life. Thank you.
Guys, it has to do with long-range planning. You're going to have to do something. I would dare say that from Southmore north, there are very few deed restrictions that are enforced. Between Southmore and Spencer, you still have some civic associations that enforce and encourage the city to come and fix their streets and sidewalks. South of Spencer, most of those civic groups and HOAs are working great. So most of their quality of life is a lot different from the north side as such. And that's not unusual because that's the older part of town. And you have to have a plan to do it. There's only one way that you can do it. You have to address the deed restrictions, what areas are going to be residential. I mean, I remember walking to Ritchie Elementary. I went there the first day it was open. I was in the first grade. And I could walk from Sunset to my school and back, which is probably a mile and a half or so total. How many of y'all would let your kids do that now? Not many, I suspect. I know in front of my house where I live in front of Young Elementary, there are cars everywhere. They're not busing. The parents are concerned about the children, and it's not just there, it's all over the city at the elementary schools. So there is a problem. It's a safety problem, and that's basically what it is. But you have to have a plan. Most of these guys have said it's infrastructure, sidewalks, but you have to have a plan for the overall, not just for a piecemeal part of it. It's got to be a long-range plan. Thank you.
Well, the first thing I want to do is probably thank the mayor of Pasadena, John Isabel, which I don't normally do, because somewhere in the newspaper I read about a month ago that the city of Pasadena was rated, I think, number 6, so I'm going to say top 10, as the best place for to live in America. And that has to be saying something for the city of Pasadena, you know, because if we've been rated in the top 10 in the city in America as a city to live in, then we've been doing something right. So just imagine where we could be if we could bring the northern part of Pasadena to that same standard. We'd probably be number 1. So with that said, as mayor, I want to continue to work and improve the infrastructure of Pasadena so that we can become number 1. Right now we're number 6. I think we deserve to be number 1. Thank you.
And the final question for the evening. As mayor, how will you strengthen and improve the overall image of Pasadena? And we'll start with Mr. Wagner.
The overall image of Pasadena. What would I do to improve it? It's really simple. You know, in our older neighborhoods, some neighborhoods have been ignored. Let everybody have a voice, but a voice that's being heard by the mayor. That way they'll have ownership. When you have ownership, you'll take care of your neighborhoods a lot better. All together, we can make the image of Pasadena together. No mayor with one plan can make it better. We have to be united. We have to be one Pasadena. And that's the whole time I've been running, I said leadership for all. Leadership for all, remember the word all. That's what's important to me. We're all in this together. So we work together, we clean our neighborhoods up together, we clean up together, and we keep them clean together. That's our image, and that's how we improve it. Thank you.
You've heard a lot about infrastructure, and we've certainly got a lot to do as far as image. But for the city's image, the number 1 thing has got to be end the good old boy system.
Well, we must communicate. We need to be transparent. That's how we're going to change the image. We have to be equal. We have to show people that we truly care. And as your leader, I will bring that to office. I really, really believe that's exactly why my 3 words are truthfulness, equality, and transparency. Thank you.
In order for us to improve image and the overall image of Pasadena, we certainly need to start with the leadership, with our mayor and our city council. They have got to get along, they have got to be inclusive, they have got to invite people to the table. Until we improve that, we can create all kinds of plans, but those plans would not come to actuality, they will not be realized, because if they cannot work together, it will not happen. The strategic plan would be a path, in terms of how that can help. We would involve people, because many times we think we have all the answers, but we don't. We need to invite people, a cross-section representation from our city, to get their feedback. But until we get people working together, collaboratively, for the benefit of the city, let egos go. It doesn't serve a purpose when we get egos involved. Focus and stay focused on the vision and mission of how do we make Pasadena better for all of us, for your children, my grandchildren. I don't want them to leave either. I want them to stay here. But they don't want to stay here because of the bad reputation that we have. And we continue to fuel the bad reputation, as evidenced by all the experiences that have happened within the last 2 weeks. Thank you.
Guys, one of the things that I was able to do when I was a state representative, I could go across the aisle. It seems like our brethren in Washington, D.C. are having a hard time doing that. Today, I could call who was some of the most liberal members in the House. I can call them. I have their cell numbers. I can do that. I did that. So you just got to get along with people, and that's what I have been able to do throughout my career, whether it was as a deacon at Richard Street Baptist Church, where I was a member for 50 years, or as a deacon at Sagemont Church, where I've been for the last 12 years. You got to get along with people, and that will help. I mean, we're not going to be able to do to change anything other than when you start showing your improvements, that you're going forward, that it's not one part of the city getting everything else, that it's everybody is pulling together to do these projects. And that's why when you do your long-range planning, that you include everybody in the city. And not biracial either, guys. It cannot be that way. Thank you.
What could I do to improve the image of Pasadena? Well, as I've stated, Pasadena has been mentioned as one of the top 10 cities to live in here in America. And then imagine opening your newspaper and you're reading a discrimination lawsuit that took place here in Pasadena. Look good, will look bad. As stated, one of the things that I would do as mayor, if I was elected mayor, would make sure that I would be inclusive, so that I wouldn't be looking racist. I wouldn't want to look racist because I'm Hispanic, and all of a sudden, we're going to start doing catering everything to the Hispanic community. It would be better for me as a mayor to be inclusive of everyone who lives here in Pasadena, and not be dividing the city as has been divided here in the past, and not be bickering or trying to keep the citizens at each other's throat like has been done in the past. In the past, has been mentioned that we need to keep Pasadena Anglo or white, and the Mexicans or the Hispanics are taking over, and we need to redistrict the city. That's this bad image that we've gotten in the news media here lately. And so, as mayor, I would want to work with everyone together. I would want to take input from everyone to see what we can do as a group and as the citizens of Pasadena to improve the image of Pasadena. Thank you.
Well, I'm biased. I think this town is the best town in the whole world. How do you improve the image? You talk about it. What do we have here in Pasadena? We have it all, in my opinion. We have your plants. Everybody knows about that. You have the port areas. Everybody knows about that. Did you know we have 3 waterfronts? We do. Do you know that we have the world's biggest natural prairie, Armand Bio Park, in Pasadena? Do you know that the Boeing building, aerospace, is in Pasadena? Did you know that the University of Houston Clear Lake is actually in Pasadena? We need to talk about the things that this city has and how great that they are. Once you start talking about the wonderful things, and yes, we'll do the infrastructure thing. Yes, it is important that we become transparent in our government and increase the citizens' confidence in us. But when we talk about the opportunities that are here, when we talk about the things that are available, we talk about the wonderful parts of Pasadena. I see people moving to Pasadena. I talk to people on the streets. They love this town. It doesn't matter if they're in the new part of Pasadena, the old part of Pasadena. They love this town, and I love this town too. I think we need to talk more about how wonderful this town is, the people that live here, that this is the biggest small town atmosphere in the entire world. And I think that this is the best city in the entire world. That's how you improve the image of Pasadena. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to thank our candidates for answering all the questions and taking time to be here tonight. And if you'll join me in giving them a round of applause for participating. So now each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement, and we'll begin with Ms. Van Hout.
Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this forum. Thank you to everyone who came for trying to be informed and be involved. You have 7 choices. Basic city services will continue regardless of who you choose. We have good supervisors. We have employees who know their job. But we need someone who can plan within the budget. We need someone who can balance staffing needs and adjust staffing for any changes the city makes with sufficient materials to do the work, with maintenance and replacement of equipment, with contracting out work too specialized for city staff. We need someone who knows the city, all parts of the city, so we can balance doing something for each part of the city with prioritizing the majority of the work where it's most needed. We need someone with ethics. We need someone who will get the politics out of City Hall. You choose who will serve you best.
I would like to thank everyone, the chambers, the citizens. I truly believe that Pasadena is special, and it holds a special place in my heart. That's exactly why I'm running for Pasadena. I see its potential. If we, as a community, want different results, we must take action and make it happen. I truly would like to know how my hard-earned tax dollars are being spent. We deserve truthfulness, equality, transparency. I would love to help our hardworking employees succeed in their everyday tasks and encourage our citizens to get involved. That is why I am introducing the zero-based budgeting system. Our current budgeting system works in this manner. If a department gets $10 million last year, they will get the same $10 million and flex increase. The zero-based budgeting system starts everyone at zero. It enables us to prioritize to do more sidewalks, infrastructure, beautification of the city. That's how we give our employees raises and invite new businesses to our city. This is our city. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Well, first of all, know that I have a love for this community. I have lived in this community over 50 years, and this community has been very good to me and my family. I have chosen to stay here because I have had many an opportunity to go somewhere else and make a lot more money. But it's not about the money. It's the fact that I want to stay here and contribute and pay back to our community. But you deserve more from your city government. I will provide you focus, collaborative, and fair government. As leaders in our community, we all know the damage that has been done to our city over the last year with a redistricting issue. I thought perhaps we had to turn a page and we're ready to work together to get things done. Unfortunately, The events in yesterday's City Council meeting tells a different story. We must return to civility, integrity, trust, and rebuilding positive relationships to city government. People around the city, state, and county, the country, are watching, and we are either going to learn and grow or go back to the old ways. I choose to move our city forward, and I think the voters will agree in May, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
I want to thank the Chamber for putting this on and for you folks coming out to spend your time here to listen to us. Many people talk about leadership, but I've done so throughout my life. From the time I was senior patrol leader in Troop 506 at Ritchie Elementary in the Boy Scouts, to the time that I was chairman of deacons at Ritchie Street Baptist Church and chairman of deacons at Sagemont Church. I also was chairman of urban affairs, where, as I said previously, where we saw all the legislation and how the cities were trying to address that in their area. I have been in leadership. People recognize that. Pasadena is in a critical stage, in my opinion. It's time for a proven conservative leader who's been successful to be elected as mayor. Together, we can make Pasadena great again. Thank you, and God bless.
Well, thank y'all for having me. I hope I haven't sounded too nervous. Nobody's laughing. But anyways, the reason I think y'all should vote for me is if you vote for me, you'll be voting for honesty and accountability to return back to City Hall. We need to hold our city officials accountable for what they do with their tax dollars, how they spend it and where they spend it, and when they waste it, we need to hold them accountable for it. Somebody needs to. If I'm in office and I'm wasting your tax dollars, are you going to keep me? Of course not. And for too long, we have held on to the old belief that only the people with money, only the people with college educations, only the people that have been leaders of big businesses are the only ones that are qualified to run our cities. It is time that we get back to the basics. It's time that we give the city back to the basic people. And I feel that that's me. So I'm asking you to vote for me come May the 6th. Thank you.
It's a new day in Pasadena. We will have a new mayor to lead this city. I want a mayor who's qualified to lead, experienced in leadership, who has a proven record of leadership for a better community. One who not only loves this city and its people, but has experience with open, transparent leadership, who has been part of an award-winning leadership team that focuses on the success of this city. I am the most qualified and experienced candidate to be mayor of Pasadena here. I am asking for your support. I am asking for your vote to be your next mayor of Pasadena. God bless you, and God bless Pasadena, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you again, Chamber. Thanks again for everybody being here. I do want to be your next mayor, and I'm asking for your support and your vote. I want to do something a little different that I think we're missing in politics today. I'd like to say a quick prayer for everybody on this stage. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us, the Chamber, to put this together. We could all stand here, express our views, our goals for this city, Father. Please let this be a race where the citizens get out and vote, they do their study, and they pick the person they want that fits the needs for this city. That is my prayer, Father, and we love you. In Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. And God bless Pasadena. Thank you so much.
Let's give them all one more round of applause for their participation today.